This podcast contains paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, where I discuss how you can grow your business by the bootstraps. This applies to all entrepreneurs, from the person just starting up to the one that is already well established. My goal is to help you grow. I am your host, Isaiah O'Connor. Today we'll be talking about the current coronavirus crisis and business and everything that's going on right now. Now, I am actually writing a blog on this one as well, so I'll have that blog post up sometime in the next week so you guys can go check it out if you feel like it. So I'm just going to go over and review kind of what's going on. If you're coming across this one and for some odd reason it's way in the future and you've never heard the coronavirus, here's what's going on. So right now we're in an unprecedented time in history. The unique coronavirus has hit, causing a worldwide pandemic. It's killed tens of thousands of people worldwide. Roughly 22,000 or 23,000 in the U.S. as of this recording, 583,000 infected, and with a projected total cost of lives to be around 60,000 deaths. Things are not good. And in response to this, governments around the world have basically shut everything down, told people to be in some form of quarantine, or as the new term is, shelter in place commands, which means you stay at home and you can go to the grocery store and the pharmacy, and that's it. You're not gathering groups of bigger than 5 usually. It's pretty serious. It's called social distancing now. Not even supposed to get within 2 meters of people outside of your own family. They're now recommending wearing masks out in public. So yeah, it's pretty serious. This is a big deal. And you can watch the news. There's some people that say, no, this is not really that big a deal. There's others that say it's a bigger deal than it is. And I think from what I've heard and from what I know, it's bad. It's not bad everywhere. There's some hot spots that's really, really bad. Other places it's not so bad and not a big deal. So I think that's where the news reports are. People say, oh, it's not that bad. People are hyping it up. Or in areas that are just not affected by it, primarily because of population density. From all my research, from everything I know, every time there's an outbreak of any kind, the higher population density is going to get hit the hardest. The U.S. is being hit the hardest in the highest population areas, primarily in New York, L.A., San Francisco, the big cities where there's a lot of people close together. That's where it hurts. And matter of fact, I know people whose family are doctors and nurses working on the front lines, and nurses are with the patients a lot. And one of my close friends has a wife who's a nurse who's in charge of an entire ward of corona patients, and she's dealing with a lot of dead bodies right now. This is scary. We have to have mad respect, especially for the doctors and nurses who are out there risking not just their lives, but the lives of their families, because if they get sick, they can take it home. This is a big deal. This is serious. Now, what else is serious is the economy is being slammed hard. We've never seen anything like this. Between March 15th and April 4th, about over 16 million Americans filed for unemployment. That represents about 10% of the entire U.S. workforce, and it's going up. The stock market is estimated to have lost north of $7 trillion in value. What else has happened? Well, supply chains have been disrupted. Some supplies are not being delivered. Some store shelves are going empty and staying empty because those products just can't make it into the stores. And of course, small businesses, maybe you're a small business that you've been running while listening to this podcast has been shuttered. There's been thousands upon thousands of small businesses, and I read 2 separate articles claiming that we will lose approximately half of the small businesses in the United States during this time. That's also very scary. Now, this leaves us with a really complex problem. We need to save lives, and we need to save the economy. Both are needed. We need to be able to provide food for our families. We need to provide medicine and a roof over our heads. But on the flip side, we need to keep things safe. So, how do we prioritize them? What do we need to do to mitigate the damage as much as possible? Now, surprisingly enough to me, this seems to have been a rather controversial topic, and that comes from the politicization of this. There's a lot of politics. Who did what? Who didn't do what? Who did what first? Who did what second? Could this person have done things better? Could that person have done things better? Lots of finger pointing and blaming, and I'm not going to play that game. So, to stay out of the political realm, I went and ran a little poll in 4 or 5 different groups, but I had enough respondents to make some significant guesses, because it's not scientific, on Facebook, and the results were surprising. Now, the poll was worded slightly different in each of these groups, but the overall main question was this: what do you think, as business leaders, should we prioritize during these times of social distancing? And these were the poll questions I asked. You could choose one of these 5. I mean, it's a simple Facebook poll. Not a lot of science behind it, just getting a kind of a feeling of what's going on out there. I'm not a pollster. I'm not good at science, but hey, I can get an idea. So my questions were this: should we stop the virus at all cost? First priority. Should our priority be stopping the virus first, but remember the economy comes second? The economy comes first, then the virus comes second. Restarting the economy at all cost, ignoring the threat of the virus, basically. I didn't put that in, and both are of equal importance. This is what I put into the poll. I'll read you the results and I'll tell you what I think, my personal thing at the moment. Now, I did 3 groups of people. Not groups of people, but in 3 Facebook groups, and these groups were kind of 3 different audiences, I guess. There are 3 different type of groups. The first one was a group that was largely a mix of everyday people, professionals, non-professionals, just normal professionals, business owners, non-professionals, 9-to-5 workers, whatever. Kind of a more mixed everyday America group. This group kind of caught me by surprise. I had a couple of people give me a hard time just for asking the question, and one person said, "You don't have to get political here. This is a non-political group." Now, I did not ask these questions due to politics or wanting to push a narrative for one side or the other or anything like that. It was just getting a handle of what was going on. So I was surprised that people got mad at me. A couple of people got mad at me, and a couple of people even told me I should not even have posted it in this group because it didn't belong. Now, pretty strong reactions, and I forgot, what selection they picked, if they picked a selection, but that doesn't matter. In the first group, with this mixed group, they were all for stopping the virus at all cost, no matter what happened. We have to stop the virus at all cost, was 76.67% of the respondents. Now, I had only about 60 people respond, so take it as you will. Now, 20% thought that the economy and stopping the virus were of equal importance. 1.67% each, so only one person each, thought that stopping the virus first was important, but the economy comes second, and the economy first and the virus second was 1.67%, and restarting the economy at cost was 0%. No one cared to stop the economy at all cost. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. Then my second group that I looked at was all professionals on varying levels, most of which were they're all small business owners, and most of which were mom and pop, one or two employee people. I didn't ask this, I just know the group dynamics fairly well. Now, their approach was a lot more balanced overall. It was about the larger percentage this time was 42.86% was the equal importance. We have to restart the economy and we have to save people at the same time. 33.33% said, hey, we have to stop the virus at all cost. 14.29% said stopping the virus was first, but the economy comes second. That's a huge difference between the first group and the second group. And then they had two people, one in each, that thought restarting the economy at all costs was most important, and the economy comes first and the virus comes second was the most important. And then the last group was a group of business leaders, managers, and entrepreneurs, business people. And their group was, again, quite different from the first group. The first group did not want the economy at all costs at all. And the last group did not want the virus at all costs at all. 0%, quite the difference. Business leaders understand the value and the need for the economy, but maybe are not nearly as worried about the virus. General public, more worried about the virus, less worried about the economy. Quite an interesting paradigm shift there. And I think it's because when you're in the business world, when you're in the economic world, you kind of understand the long-term ramifications of a dead economy. You understand what happens when supply chains start breaking down, when people that are out of work for a long time start running out of money and running out of food, and the breakdown follows. It can be bad. Businessmen tend to think that way because they understand supply chains. They understand that your job working at Walmart, if you just work at Walmart, if you get laid off, yeah, you might have some unemployment for a while, but if you're not if you run out of money for groceries, then you can't buy groceries. The person selling the groceries doesn't make money. They can't provide jobs for their employees. They have to lay off more employees who will no longer have money for groceries. It just endless cycle. So we understand the connection between economics and everyday life and the way society works a lot better, I think, than the average everyday Joe. But the everyday Joe is scared to death of the virus. So it's very somewhere in between, I think, is the solution. But let's continue on. So the third group was both of equal importance. Stopping the virus and keeping the economy going was 37.33%. Now, by the way, the respondents on each of these, I forgot to put that into the chart. Let's see if I can get there. I lost the chart. Anyway, there was a different amount of respondents each group. So the first group was 60 respondents, the second group was only 21 respondents, and the third group was 75 respondents. There we go. Okay. So now 32% of the business leaders thought that stopping the virus first was important and the economy comes in second. So yes, we have to stop the virus first, but we can't forget the economy. Then 5% wanted, 25.33% wanted to do the economy first, but definitely stop the virus second. And restarting the economy at all costs was 5.33%, and 0 again wanted to stop the virus at all costs, because the cost of stopping the virus with everything could be worse than not stopping it, than not paying attention to the economy too. Could be pretty bad. Now, where do I fall in to this mix, and what do I think we should do about it? Now, I think we need to do both at the same time as best as possible. Now, as I said previously, good friend of mine, wife is a nurse in charge of the coronavirus ward, and is having a horrible time right now. Just bad. Scary. Then someone else I know very close to me has been so stressed because they lost all their income for their entire family, has 0 income right now because of this thing. And they had a hard year previously, and it's very, very scary, and it's built up to them. They've had several suicide attempts that were aborted, thankfully, but it's that bad where people are thinking of committing suicide because of this. So then I look and I see news reports coming out of Italy where people have run out of money, and they're using Facebook to plan raids on grocery stores, which are now being protected by riot police because they have no money because they've been locked down so long. But then they have so many dead as well. So how do you fix this? What do you do? What's the solution? And that's the hardest thing to think about right now. I am glad I am not a decision maker for a country right now. This has got to be the hardest time to balance the health of your populace versus the financial health, because you need both to function as a society. You can't have people dropping dead from a virus like crazy, and you can't have people hitting depression and being depressed and taking more drugs, drinking more, and committing suicide more. I've looked at several statistics about things that happen during depressions and recessions, and they vary wildly. Some said you would actually live a little bit longer during depression times, but if you struggled with depression, suicide rates jumped. They had about 40,000 suicides in 1 year in the Great Depression. Now, it was 125 or 126 or something suicides per million, something like that. I can't remember the exact math. I broke it down and applied it to today's society, and I figured about half the U.S. population would be working. So out of that, I figured out some numbers, ran some numbers. My numbers could be off, but basically what I came up with was between 30 and 40,000 plus, actually, a year. Let's see, at 120, about 30 to 40,000 a year deaths from suicide alone. From suicide. That is nearly as much as they're expecting us to lose from the virus. Not to mention, I think it could be very much worse, because this is not just people losing work and being able to go out and actually try to find work, do anything they can. This is people losing the ability to earn money at all, and then not allowed to even go out and try. They have to sit at home and wait. Sit at home and wait for the collections notices to come in. Sit at home and, I know they've blocked evictions right now. Be worried that they might be evicted. Be worried that their company is gone and they won't be able to rebuild. What will they do to provide for their family? This is scary. This is bad. So the human cost of this many jobs is also very, very real, and it has nothing to do with greed or corporations just caring about the bottom dollar or anything like that. No, it's just people needing to be able to provide for their families. It's not bad, it's not evil, it's not greedy to be wanting to be able to go to work and provide for your family. That's it. Now, I've seen people mention that and get ripped apart for being evil, greedy people who are insensitive and don't care about endangering other people's health because they dare to try to go out and work during these times. I've seen them shredded. On the flip side, I've seen people talk about how they are stopping and not doing anything, and not as often, but even kind of said, "Hey, why don't you want to help, etc.? Why don't you want to get work moving? Don't you know we need the economy too?" But it's mostly if you want to get the economy started, if you want people to be able to work and make money and feed their families, you're often seen as some sort of greedy person. And we can't have it either way. We can't say, hey, if you want to feed your family, you're greedy, because you're not. And if you're worried about the virus, that you shouldn't be, because you should. Where's the balance? Again, we need to focus on both. We can't say someone's evil because they want to stop the virus at all costs, and someone's evil because they want to start the economy. No, it's not evil. They're both valid concerns, and we need to find a way to do both at the same time. We have to, because right now they're talking 18 months before we get a vaccine, and this will not be over until we have a vaccine and or a good solid treatment that works. Until we have one of those things, or both, we're not going to be able to reopen to any form of normal anytime soon. And then there's the very real threat of a resurgence of the virus, of a second wave, if we open up too quickly, where all of a sudden we'll get thousands of deaths spiking again once we open, because we'll start interacting and spreading the virus. So this is a naughty problem, and I've gone for a while describing the problem, and I wouldn't have talked about it if I didn't think that there's a solution, and I think there is. I'm looking at places like Walmart and Walgreens and CVS Pharmacy, and it's been a while since I've been stateside, so I don't remember all the different places are open right now. But if these major places like grocery stores, like pharmacies, can operate safely by making changes to the way they deal with their inventory, to the way they deal with their customers, to employees, to all these different things, why can't we take this type of idea and take it into other industries? Isn't there a way that we can try to reopen incrementally and do things to make things safe so that we can still earn a living and yet keep the virus at bay? I think we can do it. I personally, in the balloon world, have thought about things, and some people are going online with balloon courses. That's great. Some people are doing no contact deliveries. They are just delivering items to the door and leaving, already made. We can use gloves in the balloon world to keep things more sanitary. Stop all mouth inflation of the balloons. Use only pumps. Use sanitizer, of course. Just to give you some ideas, if we're doing balloons for kids in line, not that there's going to be many events with a lot of kids right now, but put a 6 foot between us and the kid. We make the balloon item, set it on a table, back off, let the kid get the balloon, and the kid can come get it. There's ways you can do things to change the way you operate a little bit or a lot to open up for business. And that's the challenge right now there is good news. It looks like we've hit the peak and the cases are dropping, the amount of cases, the spread is slowing down. Worldwide, we're watching the peak kind of come down in the US, and they're talking about opening businesses and they're talking about stepping things slowly back up. So right now, what I'm encouraging you to do is look at your business. If your business model has customer contact, if your business model has to have customers in close proximity of each other, that's the time. Okay, what can I do to open up the business so we can save the economy and yet not put anyone else at risk? And I know there's ways to do it. If Walmart can do it, we can do it. That's my idea. If Walmart, which handles thousands of customers every single day, can do it and come up with ways and strategies to help this virus stop from being spread, and pharmacies can do it, we can do it. I mean, shoot, if you're a movie theater owner, maybe you can set it up so you can have the chairs closed and keep a 6 feet 2 meter distance between chairs. Yeah, people can't go all lovey-dovey to the theater anymore, but at least they can go to the movies. They won't be able to get as many people in, but maybe you can open up. Maybe you can spread it out. Maybe after the shows, have an extra half an hour or 45 minutes between shows to have a crew come in and fully sanitize every single seat that is used. Things like that. Yeah, it's more work, it's more effort, but it will help get things moving in. And that's what I'm saying. We can't give up safety to the public safely to just make money, but we can't give up our livelihood for public safety. You know what I mean? You can't trade them off. This is like in the movie Batman Forever. Really cheesy movie, but there's one scene in the movie where I think it's Two-Face has Batman's girlfriend and Robin tied up and hanging upside down. And he goes, "Who are you going to choose, Batman?" Because at this point, Two-Face has learned Batman's secret identity. He goes, "Are you Batman or are you Bruce Wayne? Are you going to save the boy or are you going to save the girl? Who are you going to save, Batman? Who are you going to save? You can't save them both." Batman, of course, proves him wrong and saves both of them because he's Batman after all. And he says, "I am Batman and I am Bruce Wayne. I am both." And I'm going to leave off with that. We can be Batman here. We can look at this and go, yes, there are people dying and it's really, really bad. We have to do something to stop this. But on the flip side, the economy is crashing and it's really, really bad. And we have to do something to stop this. Let's do both. I think there's common sense ways we can stop this virus and get out there and get open as well. We need both because either way, it's very scary. Either way, we lose people, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Cozy up with a good book. Go download a book from Audible. There's my whole pitch for today. Check out Audible. Use my link. It'll help me out. Whatever. Just relax. Have a great time. This one's not been a fun one for me to go through, but just wanted to encourage you guys out there. Hard time. It's not going to last forever, and let's do what we can to make this time go as quickly as possible because we can minimize the damage from the virus and minimize the damage to the economy at the same time. Let's go out and do this thing. Okay? Talk later. Bye. Okay, just as a reminder, we do offer a free 1/2 hour, no obligation consultation. All you need to do is go to our website and contact us through there, or you can contact me directly at my O'Connor Bootstrap podcast Facebook group or our Atheoz.com Facebook page as well. And if you would like to support this channel, the best thing you can do, of course, is to like and share and subscribe. That helps the most. Or you can check out one of our affiliate links. And of course, I do have a PayPal and a Patreon account, and the links will be in the description below. Thank you very much. You all have a good day. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap podcast and Atheoz Business Solutions podcast. For other podcasts, past episodes, and related blogs, please check out our website at www.atheoz.com. That is www.atheoz.com or atheoz.com. Until next time, I've been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.